Welcome back, and if this is your first time here, buckle in, because what you are about to hear is going to hit somewhere deep. Today we are talking about something that does not get said enough, about the moment someone built a plan around your downfall, studied you, set the stage, and waited and then watched the whole thing collapse because you simply did not fall. About the rage that lives in a person when their trap catches nothing but air. About what it actually means when someone is furious that they could not fool you. Because here is what most people never realize. When someone is that angry that their trick did not work, it was never really about the trick. It was about control. It was about power. It was about the unbearable truth that you, yes you, were stronger, clearer, and more grounded than they ever gave you credit for. And today, we are going to walk through every layer of that. What they did, what you survived, what it built inside you, and why their fury is actually the greatest confirmation of your growth you will ever receive. And before we go any further, I have to be honest with you. This channel, this sacred space we have built together, brick by brick, word by word, heart by heart, it is not backed by ad revenue right now. We have been demonetized, which means every single word you hear, every video we pour ourselves into, every message crafted just for you at 2 a.m. when the world is quiet and you need it most, is being made purely out of love. Love for you. Love for this community, love for the belief that these words matter. And if they ever have, if even one of these videos helped you get up when every part of you wanted to stay down, if even one message pushed you forward when everything inside you screamed to stop, then you already know what this space means. So if you feel called to keep it alive, to keep these words reaching people who need them, please consider hitting the super thanks button linked below in the description and supporting us with whatever feels right in your heart. No amount is too small. Every single one reminds us why we do this. They tried to trap you, and it did not work. And now they are furious, not the kind of fury that makes noise right away. No. This is the slow-burning, teeth-clenching, pacing at midnight kind of rage. The kind that lives behind a smile at work, behind a like on your photo, behind a how have you been that means nothing. They are sitting somewhere right now, replaying it. Replaying the moment their plan fell apart. Replaying the moment you did not fall for it. And the worst part for them, the absolute worst part, is that you may not have even known what they were doing. You just kept moving. And that is what is eating them alive. Because here is the thing about people who build traps. They invest in them. They spend time crafting the illusion, rehearsing the story, placing every piece just right. They picture your face when you fall in. They almost celebrate before it happens. And when it does not happen, when you walk right past the hole they dug, something breaks in them. Something they cannot name out loud. Something they will never admit to anyone, not even themselves. And you? You were just being you. That is the part they cannot accept. They studied you. They watched how you moved, who you talked to, what you cared about. They took notes on your vulnerabilities like they were preparing for an exam. They waited, they were patient. And in their mind, they had you. They had already written the end of your story before you even walked into the room. But what they did not account for, what they never account for, is that people who have been through real pain develop a kind of radar that cannot be faked and cannot be bought. You have been lied to before. You have felt the specific weight of betrayal. You know what manipulation feels like when it enters the room, because you have felt it before it had a name. And that knowing saved you. Not luck, not coincidence, not even careful planning on your part. It was the accumulation of everything you have survived that quietly whispered, "Something is wrong here." And you listened. Maybe you did not even act dramatically. Maybe you just paused. Maybe you just did not respond the way they expected. Maybe you simply kept your power instead of handing it over. But whatever you did, it was enough. It was more than enough, because their entire agenda required your cooperation. Their plan needed you to be unaware, unguarded, desperate enough to take the bait. And you were none of those things. Well, well, well. Look how that turned out. Let me tell you what happens inside a person when their manipulation fails. First comes the confusion, because in their mind it should have worked. They told themselves a story where they were the smart one, the powerful one, the one holding the strings. When that story collapses, they do not immediately accept what happened. They go back over every detail, trying to find the moment it went wrong. They wonder if they missed something. They wonder if someone warned you. They wonder if maybe they just need to try again with a different angle. Because the one thing they refuse to consider, the one explanation they will not allow themselves to land on, is that you were simply stronger than they thought. That thought is unbearable to them, because if you were strong enough to see through them, then they were never really powerful. And power is everything to someone who manipulates. It is all they have. It is the currency they trade in, the identity they have built themselves around. They do not love. They do not connect. They leverage. They position. They orchestrate. And when the orchestra refuses to play, when the puppet cuts the strings, they are left standing on a stage they built alone, performing for an audience of no one. Ha ha ha. And they cannot stand it. Now let me speak directly to what you might be feeling right now, because not everyone who survives manipulation feels triumphant. Some of you are still shaking a little. Some of you are second-guessing yourselves, wondering if you misread the situation, wondering if maybe you were too suspicious, too guarded, too closed off. Some of you feel guilty for seeing through someone's agenda because no one taught you that protecting yourself was allowed. You were raised to assume the best in people. You were told that trust is a virtue. And somewhere in that teaching, the lesson about discernment got lost. The lesson that said you can be kind and clear-eyed, you can wish someone well and refuse to let them use you. Those two things are not in conflict. Seeing through someone's agenda does not make you paranoid. It makes you awake. And the world needs awake people. The world is full of stories that collapsed because one person trusted one too many times, gave one more chance to someone who had already spent every chance they were given. You did not become bitter, you became wise. There is a canyon of difference between those two things, and you are standing on the right side of it. But now, let us talk about them again for a moment, because this part is important. When their trick did not work, they did not disappear quietly. Nah, that is not how this kind of person operates. Instead, they shifted. They moved to the next phase of their agenda, which is usually one of two things. Either they act like nothing happened, like they were never trying anything, like you must have imagined the whole thing, or they turn it around. They start telling a story where you are the villain, where you are the difficult one, where you are the one who overreacted, misunderstood, or caused the problem they were supposedly trying to solve. And they tell this story with such conviction that even people who know you start to wonder. Even you might start to wonder. That is the final layer of the trap, the rewrite. Do not let them rewrite your story. You were there. You know what happened. You know what was said and what was meant. You know the feeling in your gut that told you something was off before you had words for it. That feeling does not lie. That feeling is the residue of everything you have lived through, everything you have learned, every scar that taught you to pay attention. Honor that. Do not let anyone, no matter how convincing, no matter how many people are on their side, make you doubt what you experienced in real time. Because here is what truth does. It does not need defending every day. It does not need an audience. It does not need to be loud. Truth just waits. And eventually, the difference between what they said happened and what actually happened becomes visible. Not through arguments, not through exposure campaigns, but through time. Through who keeps showing up. Through who stays consistent. Through who the people around you eventually learn to trust, and who they eventually learn to read. You do not have to win this today. You just have to remain who you are. Now I want to talk about what this experience is doing for you. Even if right now it only feels like something that happened to you. Every person who has tried to trick you and failed has done something unexpected. They have contributed to your education. They have sharpened you in ways that comfort never could. Think about what you now carry that you did not carry before. You carry the knowledge of what real deception feels like so you can recognize it faster next time. You carry the confidence of having survived someone's worst move against you and come out standing. You carry a quiet authority that only comes from having been tested and not broken. That authority does not announce itself. It does not wear a badge, but people feel it. Even the ones who want to undermine you feel it, and it unsettles them. Because they were counting on you being someone who could be controlled, and the version of you that stands before them now is clearly uncontrollable. That word should mean everything to you. Uncontrollable. Not chaotic, not reckless, not destructive, but sovereign, self-directed, moving according to your own internal compass, rather than the gravity of someone else's need for power over you. And that quality, that rare, earned, costly quality, is something they cannot take. They can talk about you. They can spin stories. They can gather people who agree with them and build a whole narrative universe where they are the wronged party and you are the problem. And none of it will change what you actually are, because what you are is not a title they can revoke. It is not a reputation that can be fully destroyed by people who never truly knew you. What you are is the product of what you have survived, and no one can unmake that. So let them be angry. Let them sit in the discomfort of their failed agenda. Let them pace and plot and wonder how it all went sideways. Let them tell their version of events to anyone who will listen. You do not have to chase them into the conversation. You do not have to audit their every statement. You do not have to be there for the unraveling. Just keep going. Keep building. Keep showing up for the things that actually matter. Let the quality of your life become the only testimony that counts. Because the loudest argument you will ever make is not a single sentence. It is the long, slow, undeniable arc of a life that kept moving forward even when someone was trying to pull it under. And now let me say something that might surprise you. Be grateful. Not for the pain, not for the betrayal, not for the time wasted on someone who was never in your corner, but be grateful for the revelation, because they showed you something you needed to know. They showed you who they were. And that information, that painful, disorienting, gut punch of information, is actually one of the most valuable things a person can receive, because it lets you stop investing where there is no return. It lets you redirect your energy toward people and places that are real. And that redirection, that single decisive turning away from what was never for you, changes everything that comes next. You are not the same person you were before they tried to trick you. You are sharper. You are quieter in a powerful way. You are more selective about what gets your energy, your trust, your time. You are building boundaries not from fear but from clarity. And that shift is not small. That shift is the foundation of a completely different life. The kind of life where you stop burning energy on people who were never fuel. The kind of life where you stop explaining yourself to audiences who had already decided what they wanted to believe. The kind of life where you walk into rooms knowing who you are so completely that no one's agenda can reach inside and rearrange you. That is what they accidentally built by failing to break you. And I want you to sit with this next thought for a moment. I want you to really let it settle. The fact that someone spent time, energy, and strategy trying to trick you means they considered you a threat. People do not build elaborate traps for people they do not fear. They do not craft careful deceptions for people they consider irrelevant. The whole architecture of their manipulation was a confession. It was them saying, without words, this person has something I want to take, neutralize, or destroy. And the reason they want to take it, neutralize it, or destroy is because they cannot replicate it. They cannot simply work for what you have. They cannot earn the reputation, the peace, the relationships, the inner stillness that you carry. So they went after it sideways, and it did not work. Let that be its own reward, not revenge, not their public humiliation, not their downfall. You do not need any of that. What you need, what you already have, is the quiet knowledge that when it mattered, you held. You did not fold. You did not take the bait. You did not let someone else's low opinion of your intelligence become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You simply remained. And in remaining, you won something that cannot be put on a scoreboard, but that every wise person in your life will recognize when they see it. You kept yourself. And now we arrive at the place this whole journey has been leading to. Because here is the truth about this moment, about this experience, about everything you have just walked through. This was not a detour from your path. This is the path. The testing is the training. The betrayal is the blueprint. The attempt to bring you down was the very event that showed you how high you have actually climbed, how solid your foundation has actually become, how much of your own story you have already secured in a place no one else can reach. They thought they were delivering a blow. They were delivering a gift. And yes, it was wrapped in pain. And yes, it cost you something: time, trust, maybe some peace of mind. But what you received in return is worth more than anything they could have given you willingly. You received proof of your own discernment, proof of your own resilience, proof that the work you have done on yourself, in quiet, in private, in the long hours when no one was watching, that work is real. It shows up. It shows up exactly when it is needed. And it shows up without your permission, because it has become who you are. Think about that. It has become who you are, not a strategy you employ, not a mask you wear when things get hard, but the actual architecture of your character, built over time, built in difficulty, built by every moment you chose to keep going when stopping seemed more logical. And now, when someone throws their worst at you, that architecture holds. Not because you are perfect, not because you are immune to pain, but because you have been shaped by enough fire to know that fire does not get to decide what you become. You decide that. In the quiet, in the aftermath, in the long, unglamorous process of choosing yourself again and again until the choice becomes automatic. And so here we are, here you are, still standing, still moving, still yourself despite everything they tried to do with your story. The agenda is ash, the trap is empty, and the person they thought they could trick is nowhere to be found, because that version of you never existed. That version was a projection of their own fear, dressed up as certainty about who you were. But you are not who they decided you were. You never were. You are the one who burned their agenda to the ground just by being exactly who you are, and they can sit with that. Let them sit with it for as long as they need to. Let them be furious. Let them be confused. Let them be restless at 3 a.m, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. You do not need to be there for any of it. You have got a life to build. You have got a version of yourself to keep becoming. You have got mornings that are yours, and work that is yours, and growth that is yours, and a future that no one else had any part in creating. That is yours. All of it. Every piece of it. Permanent, proven, real, and no agenda, no matter how carefully crafted, no matter how long planned, no matter how many people signed on to it, will ever touch that. Court adjourned.